to Metal Titans, Guardians of Metal Entertainment Worldwide. I'm here with Omer of Trailight. Thank you for doing this interview with us today.
Thank you.
Now, first and foremost, tell us Trailight. Tell us how you came up with the name for Trailight.
The name for Trailight came from a book that I read called The Source Field Investigations, in which the general concept of it was the fact that the blueprints of life travel within the cosmos or the universes through a beam of light. Mm-hmm. And you can have life manifest everywhere and anywhere by means of that blueprint traveling on a beam of light. So I thought a trail of light and Trailight. That's how it came to be.
Cool. Now, of course, you are writing a new record for Trailight. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this record. Without giving too much away.
It's mostly... It's probably an accumulation of everything that has inspired me musically ever. So it's a very musically diverse album.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that influence me in the genre of jazz, a lot of things that influence me in the genre of metal, prog, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So everything that influenced me that way, I try to, put it in an album together. Yeah. And there's obviously a theme of somewhat proggish heaviness to it, but and it's also lyrically it's very autobiographical as well, and also very much inspired by the book that I talked about earlier as well. Yeah. So it's everything that has inspired me musically, and lyrically it's autobiographical for the most part.
Yeah. Now, when you mentioned the book, like the book you mentioned earlier, like what drew you to that book for this band compared to, say, another book for something else kind of thing?
I think the contents of it was very meaningful to me. It kind of, from all the books that I've read, it kind of stood out to be something fundamentally that I connected with. And so maybe that's why, maybe a synchronistic thing, that right time, right place, right spark of inspiration that kind of produced that name and that kind of vibe to it, I guess.
Yeah.
The first album wasn't really lyrical in any sense. It was mostly instrumental, done with voiceovers. I didn't feel that I had anything in particular to say lyrically, or maybe I wasn't really ready. And so musically I had a lot to say, I felt. And so I did what I did the way that I did with the first album, and kind of slapped a bunch of political voiceovers for the most part, that kind of, I feel, hold a lot more water in today's world than it did when those words were uttered back in, say, the 60s or the 50s or the 70s and such. So it was a timely thing politically or sociopolitically. Yeah. And that's why I felt I needed to do that then. That was almost a year ago.
Yeah. Whereas this album is a little more diverse in the sense, like you said, it's more themed more towards the book you read.
It's very different. The two are, I feel that the only thing in common with the two albums is the name. Trailight and my association with it. Yeah. Everything else on this album was done remarkably differently. The first album it's a living room album. I played all the instruments myself, and whereas this one, it's a collaborative event with a lot of musician friends that stepped in to do a lot of incredible work.
Now, speaking of those musician friends, like what inspired you to reach out to them? Like, did any of them reach out to you and said, you know what, they heard what you're doing this album, or like more or less was it by association? Like some of them, of course, you used to photograph, so you knew them on a more personal level. Like, what drew you to their musicianship?
their musicianship, pretty much.
Yeah, I answered that question.
Let's start with the drummer, Ryan. Ryan Van Poiteren. He plays for the Devin Townsend Band. That's the project that he's mostly known for. It's the Devin Townsend Project now, I suppose. And he is a remarkable drummer on many levels.
Yeah.
And I wanted him on the album because I felt that stylistically he fit very well, and he did. I sent Ryan a bunch of demos. I spoke with him in January this year, and I told him, hey, I've got this idea that I'm working on. It's going to be roughly nine tracks or so. Would you be willing, or would you have any time to do this? And he said, yeah. He was interested in it, and he just had some commitments of touring with Devin and recording, and we didn't track drums until mid-June. Okay. So I had a lot of time was on my side.
To write anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, to write, change things, see how I feel about certain things. But everything on the album I wrote, and then I sent him even the drums, and I sent him, and I was like, okay, here's the rhythm that I'm looking for. And I encouraged him to do his own thing, give it the Ryan signature on it, and he did. A lot of people that are fans of Ryan and his work will be like, yep, that's him.
Yeah, exactly.
And he also had a bit of a, not challenge, but a little bit of a drummer thing to do. There's one track that he has, a 2.5 minute drum solo. Nice. That he does his own thing, and that was something that I really wanted him to do as well. He
was probably stoked to do that.
I don't know of any drummer that wouldn't want to do a drum solo in an album.
It's so rare.
But the way that he did it though was incredible. He tracked the entire album in one day, and nothing on his drums the entire album is not gridded. It's unedited. It's just him doing his takes. He did 3 takes of each song, and if there was a fill in one part that we liked better, we moved it to the main track, and that's about it. But everything else is just one track.
Like flawless. Yeah.
Flawless. And
that's Ryan.
Yeah, that's Ryan. And he played to a click track, obviously. And the entire music was written to Ryan's drums, not to a click. Wow. So I feel, and other people who were involved in this, I also made it clear, and they understood too, and they liked it, the fact that there's a human element to this very much. It breathes, expands, and contracts a lot, and stylistically as well as musically.
It's not like one style of music that's all over.
Right. It's not rigid.
To be diverse. Yeah.
So it was important for me to have that sense of expansion and contraction and such. So so that was Ryan, and then some of the guitar parts were done by Corey McBain. He's a veteran Vancouver guitarist and musician. He is incredible in many, many ways. He contributed a lot of amazing guitar parts and guitar ideas. He kind of did his own little production on his guitar parts. I believe he's playing on 5 tracks on the album, and just wow. You know, the ideas that I had, he brought forth is like, hey, what do you think about this, and what do you think about that? And I'm like, yes, you know. I soon realized, with all the musicians involved, that I was, working with musical savants, and it was such a treat for me to be able to have them put their energy into this body of music, and some of them got pretty emotionally involved in it as well. Yeah. And they wanted to do their best, obviously. Yeah. It was their name attached to it and such.
But it's like also at the same time, like, they're helping you, right? So like to help make your project something successful also helps them show more success too.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, I reached out to Corey because I've been a fan. He's in a band called Cyanotic, and he had his own project called Silent Strain, and I've been a fan of his music for a very long time, since I first heard Cyanotic myself in early 2000, I think, or 2001 maybe, and I've seen them live a few times, and I was always very impressed. So that was a treat to have him. Next was Dave Padden. He's known for singing in the band Annihilator. He's the lead singer and rhythm guitarist.
Of course.
And Dave, I feel I've known of Dave for the last 10 years, but I've never met Dave until we came into the studio to track the vocals. He heard about this project from Corey.
Oh, wow.
And he showed interest. So I emailed Dave and I'm like, hey, would you be interested in singing? He's like, yeah, that'd be cool. Cool project to do.
Yeah.
And he also had some tour commitments with Annihilator for the summer. And when he was done, I sent him the tracks. And about 2 weeks later, we met at the studio. I picked him up in his house and hi, nice to meet you. Boom, let's go to the studio and track some stuff. And it was phenomenal. I sometimes I look back at him after he did some takes and I'm like, who are you? Just amazing the way that he expressed. I sent Dave demos of me singing on all the tracks. I'm like, all right, here's the melody that I want, here are the accents that I want them to be like this or like that. And again, he did exactly like Ryan, extrapolated on that.
Yeah.
And made it huge. And
that's awesome.
I feel that Dave can front any band in the world in any style.
Oh yeah.
He's got that much range and that much talent. And I was listening to the vocals that we did. We did the vocals in 2 days for the entire album.
Wow.
And
that's pretty good.
yeah. Another vocalist who did one song on the album was Mark Dixon. He plays he sings for a Virginia-based band called The Shallows. And I heard of Mark from a friend of mine who is also a Spectre bass endorsed artist. And he was like, hey, check out my band. And I heard a couple of songs and I was just blown away by Mark's voice. And I knew that there was one song on the album that fit his style of voice so much that I asked him, I was like, would you be interested in doing this? He said, yes, of course. Yeah. So originally he was supposed to track the vocals in Virginia somewhere and me producing it through a Skype session or something.
Yeah.
But a month before we were supposed to track, he sends me an email. It's like, hey, I've never been to Vancouver. How about I come up and we do it up there? I'm like, yes.
Sure.
And Lee came up with him as well. And it was, again, another one of those things. Hi, nice to meet you. Let's go to the studio and track some guitars. And it was just remarkable how incredible all those people are.
Yeah.
It was so comfortable to work with them. And they're so amazing as musicians and individually that it was such a treat.
They're all really humble and just really...
It was amazing. It was just an amazing experience. Yeah. And we tracked the one song, the acoustic song on the album, with Mark here. The day before we went to dinner and I explained the meaning behind the song and what it's, where it comes from and such. So he kind of got into the mood and we spent a day here to do that and he did a fantastic job. I think that Mark has a kind of like Michael Ackerfeld type of voice, not obviously not the growly part, the more melodic part. So it's that song kind of reminisces maybe a bit of Opeth's Damnation, sort of thing. He's got that very powerful, heavy, and amazing natural vibrato to him that was quite astonishing. And again, another remarkable individual. 2 guest guitar solos on the album. One is from Jed Simon, and well, everybody knows Jed from being in Strapping Young Lad, and currently is in Scar the Martyr.
Yeah.
I've known Jed for a decade, I guess. I was working as a photographer for a while, and I did some Strapping Young Lad photos, and that's how we met. Christopher Malmstrom of Darkane did the second guitar solo, so also by association of my photography career, I photographed his band years back in Toronto, and helped him out with some extra stuff thereafter. And I shot him and Jed an email. I'm like, hey, again, I'm working on this project. Would you guys be interested in collaborating in a solo? Within a few hours, I got an email from Jed and then an email from Chris. Like, of course, yeah, send me the tracks. And they did 2 incredible guitar solos, and I'm so ecstatic to have them on the album. It's quite a treat to have all those people, and finally the girls of the band called Sound of the Sun. I was supposed to play a show with Trailight as a 3-piece for the first album, and that's how we played a few shows. We're supposed to play a show at Joe's apartment, and I was kind of looking at who's supposed to be playing that show, and the girls of Sound of the Sun were there, so I checked them out. It's one of those instinctive synchronicities again. I knew that I had to have them sing on the album. It's not very often that I hear a piece of music or a 3-part harmony and I automatically get, or instantaneously get
chills.
Goosebumps, like, wow, those girls sound great. And so I emailed them, asked them, like, hey, this is I'm doing this project, would you be interested in doing some backing vocals? And sure enough, they said yes, they're interested, and
that's great though.
That was great. And one of the girls, Sia, she ended up playing the piano on the album as well.
Oh, cool.
She's a proficient piano player, so she did all the piano parts on the album. And today we're tracking the backing vocals with the girls, and it's sounding quite huge, to say the least. There are a lot of
amazing
backing.
So far.
There are a lot of vocals on this album.
I've heard it,
A lot of vocals. And what else am I forgetting? Anybody? I played bass.
I was gonna say, you played bass, Spectre bass.
I played bass on the album, and guitars and keys.
Wow.
And that's it.
No, of course, like you mostly play the bass, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And of course you do play Spectre basses. What pushed you to play a Spectre bass over any other kind of bass? Have you played other types of basses and then you eventually went to Spectre, or did you just straight up start at Spectre?
You know what, I have to say I straight up started with Spectre.
Yeah? Just reputation-wise, or just...
Reputation, and the infamous and distinctive tone that, as far as I'm concerned at least, and to my ear, no other bass can deliver that type of tonality. And not only that, they also have a great work ethic behind them. They're, for the most part, like a fairly small company out of upstate New York, I believe, Woodstock, New York.
Yeah.
And they're, I think, in the U.S. factory, which is somebody's garage, I think. There are about 13 people in total.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Yeah,
I'm just
I may be mistaken, but there are only a few people just kind of, with their...
by hand.
Yeah, pretty much sanding little bits and pieces and putting it all together. And
well, hey, that's what makes them stand out from the rest, right?
I mean, there are a lot of other companies that practice that kind of a thing, but I don't know of anybody that has that kind of tone. It's distinct. A lot of bass players and a lot of people who understand or know that can distinguish a Spectre from all other basses, and that's why I quite honestly haven't been playing bass for too long, and I to shortcut my way to something very good, and I was like, all right, that I've heard it on various albums, most infamously, and the Police Synchronicity tour. That was where that Spectre was made emblematic to an extent. Many albums from various different artists and bands. So
they have such a high reputation that
and they're great people.
And it's good. Yeah,
Stuart
it's a good reputation.
Stuart is amazing. PJ, the vice president, has also been remarkably helpful and so nice to me that I still sometimes find myself, like, is all of this happening? In such a short period of time. It was quite remarkable. I've only been doing Trailight for 3 years, maybe.
Wow, yeah.
That's not a long time at all.
No.
And from the first album to this project now, it's
where's the next one gonna go?
Worlds apart. Yeah, I thought about that too. I thought, wow.
Don't think too far ahead.
What do I have to do to take this to such an exponential level? It's going to be difficult. I'm gonna have to stop playing and get maybe Geddy Lee, Neil Peart, and Alex Lifeson to do their own thing.
Shoot them an email. How about this?
That's probably the next exponential step up from where I am now, but I don't know. It's way too far ahead of me. I may take a little bit of a breather until another spark of inspiration arises or something, but who knows?
Who knows? The future awaits, as they always say.
Indeed,
you can't predict it.
No.
Well, thank you, Omer, for doing this interview with Metal Titans. Before we finish, is there anything you'd like to say to the Trailight fans out there? Or Metal Titans fans, or both?
Just keep doing whatever it is that you're doing. Support the music and support the industry in any way that you can. Be it buying an album, buying merchandise, coming to the shows. Whatever it is that you're doing right, and you need to do that, so keep going. That's all I can think of.
Thank you.
Thank you.